Sunlight glinted off the mighty Mississippi, casting long, dancing shadows on the city of Jackson. And amidst the tree-lined avenues and stately antebellum mansions, one could find Benjamin Leary, the city's diligent detective, wrought by hardship and hewn from the crucible of tragedy. His midnight black eyes were etched with the wildness of a winter storm, yet smoldered with the fervor of a summer blaze, a melancholy relic of his childhood trauma. They were captivating, disquieting pools that reflected his past, a conflagration that devoured his innocence and left him with charred remnants of a family he once called his own. It's not a matter of owing, Martha, he spoke to his aging neighbor over a cup of lukewarm coffee, but of responsibility. Justice doesn't run on debts. His voice, a soft baritone, ebbed and flowed like the river, cascading over pebbles of wisdom gleaned from a past marred by fire and ashes. The city's elite, rich in wealth and cloaked in mystery, had begun to gather. Their luxurious gatherings, ostensibly benign and in honor of philanthropic endeavors, seemed rife with an underlying murkiness. Benjamin's keen instinct, sharpened by the gritty grindstone of Jackson's underbelly, could not ignore the obscurity. He sensed a disquiet that echoed the unease in his heart. Through hushed conversations and clandestine observations, he encountered veiled hints, subtle fragments that formed a haunting mosaic, whispers of the antique store, the aged hourglass, its ornate curios singing hymns of bygone epochs, and the bizarre fascination the city's wealthy seemed to harbor for it. "I've been to those gatherings, Ben," Martha's time-worn voice echoed with an unusual wariness. "Folks are changing. It's not just the old money, it's something darker, something I can't put a finger on." Their conversation, tucked away in the cozy confines of a humble kitchen, was framed against the humdrum life of Jackson. Children playing on the streets, the distant barks of dogs, and the aroma of peach pies wafted in from nearby windows. The dichotomy was stark, the normalcy of everyday life juxtaposed against the looming specter of the inexplicable. And so, as the orange twilight sky embraced the quaint town, the embers in Benjamin's eyes glowed brighter. He resolved to navigate the labyrinth of uncertainty that was beginning to envelope his beloved town. A simple man driven by the need to uphold justice and repay an unseen debt, he would step into the shop of antiquities, unbeknownst of the ancient horrors that awaited him. He walked away from Martha's porch, leaving behind the comfort of familiar surroundings, unknowingly stepping onto a path that led not just to the heart of Jackson's upper echelons, but also to the precipice of a terrifying abyss. The last glimmers of the dying sun painted him in a solemn silhouette, a solitary figure against the backdrop of the approaching darkness, poised on the cusp of the unimaginable. Jackson was bathed in the soft lavender hues of dawn as Benjamin meandered towards the aged hourglass. Nestled in a cobbled lane, it was a time-encrusted relic, its time-worn facade resonating with the wisdom of a bygone era. The antique store stood out like a cryptic sonnet amidst the symphony of Southern architecture, with its intriguing cornucopia of relics humming an ancient, rhythmic lullaby. This was not just a place of commerce, it was a shrine to the forgotten, a hallowed custodian of mysteries that time itself had relinquished. Inside, the warm, musky scent of age and polish hung in the air like an aromatic shroud. He was greeted by Eudora, the shopkeeper. Her eyes twinkled with a blend of innocence and cunning that could only be fostered by a lifetime of tending to forgotten epochs and their secret stories. "Why are you interested in such relics, Benjamin?" she asked, her voice a melody draped in the cloak of antiquity. "A young man like you should look forward, not back." "It's not the past I'm interested in, Eudora," he replied, his fingers tracing the contours of an ancient obsidian artifact. "I'm looking for answers." An eerie connection surfaced between the artifact and his trauma. The object, mysterious and pulsating with arcane energy, began revealing visions of townsfolk, their eyes devoid of humanity, echoing the void that existed within him post the fiery tragedy of his childhood. The artifact was a key, a bridge between his traumatic past and the unsettling present. A sense of disquiet wrapped itself around him as he delved deeper into the labyrinth of antiques. The object, cold and humming with an energy that was nearly sentient, was a beacon in the darkness, guiding him to understand the insidious forces at play. As he ventured further into the bowels of the antique shop, he discovered layers of history and horror intertwined, each piece an echo of a time lost to the cosmic carousel of the universe. Yet the pull of the obsidian artifact remained undiminished, its song growing louder in the eerie silence. In the silence of the shop, among the porcelain figures and ancient manuscripts, his journey took a somber turn. From a seeker of justice, he had unwittingly become a bearer of ancient truths that could disrupt the harmony of his beloved town. By the time the sun dipped below the horizon, coloring the sky with hues of crimson, he felt the weight of the ancient artifact pressing against his pocket. He left the shop with a renewed sense of purpose and a chilling dread for what was to come. The silhouette of the aged hourglass receded into the evening fog, its secrets whispering like phantom echoes, guiding him into the veiled world of Jackson's hypnotized elite. Under the veil of the indigo night, the city of Jackson bore witness to peculiar gatherings of its wealthiest citizens. Silhouettes in satin and silk merged in a macabre dance, lit by the cold glow of the moon. An unsettling rhythm pulsed beneath the city's skin, growing stronger with each passing moment. Benjamin, driven by the spectral call of the ancient artifact, found himself drawn into the twisted ballet. His heart pounded in rhythm with the cryptic waltz of the city's elite, each step leading him further into a labyrinth of the arcane. "Seems like a grand gathering, doesn't it, Benjamin?" remarked Samuel, a local philanthropist with a wolfish grin, his eyes reflecting the same hollow gaze as Benjamin had seen in the artifact. "It does, Samuel," he replied, his voice steady, eyes alert, "but it seems like more than just a social call." He moved through the crowd like a specter, observing the unusual synchrony of their actions. Their voices rang hollow, their laughter too sharp, their movements too coordinated. Beneath the veneer of Southern hospitality and lavish soirees, the city's upper crust was enacting rituals known only to a dark cosmos. As he plunged deeper into the uncanny, the artifact pulsed with an ominous energy, reacting to the surroundings, echoing the dread that had started to seep into his core. The eeriness climaxed when he discovered the truth. Unveiled in the secrecy of a secluded chamber, he found the city's elite worshiping a grotesque statue, a manifestation of a cosmic entity beyond human comprehension. It was a horror birthed in the abyss of the universe, clothed in a robe of the unreal. "The Devourer shall liberate us all," Samuel's voice echoed in the cold chamber, "our consciousness, a humble offering to the cosmic deity." As Samuel's words, honeyed with insanity, filled the room, Benjamin felt the artifact tremble. He understood then the link between the brainwashed townsfolk and the terrifying force that threatened to consume them all. The silent pledge of loyalty the rich had taken was not to an abstract idea, but to an abyssal horror. As he retreated from the horrific revelation, his path was lit by the cool, spectral glow of the moon. His journey from being a simple detective to a reluctant harbinger of truths was now drenched in an otherworldly dread. He had unwittingly stepped into the labyrinth of cosmic horror, guided by the echoes of the past, now standing at the precipice of a terrifying abyss. In the solitude of his dwelling, he clutched the artifact, its pulse syncing with his racing heartbeat. His resolve solidified with the chilling realization of the nightmare enveloping Jackson. He knew what lay ahead was a battle against the unutterable, and he was now the last bulwark against a cosmic horror. The dawn arrived, anemic and cold, over the city of Jackson. Benjamin, the once humble detective, now the reluctant soldier in a cosmic battle, found himself standing before the haunting edifice of the aged hourglass. The store had transformed overnight, its mundane charm replaced by an eerie anticipation. As he stepped inside, the air tasted of old secrets and primal dread, while the obsidian artifact pulsed, synchronized with the desperate drumming of his heart. "Eudora, I know," his voice echoed in the stillness of the store, the weight of his discovery etching a new harshness into his tone. Eudora turned, her eyes holding a grim acceptance. "It was inevitable, Benjamin. You were chosen by the artifact." In the shadow-drenched corners of the shop, under Eudora's guidance, he learned of the forgotten rituals and ancient spells to counter the dark cult's brainwashing. The obsidian artifact was more than just a key. It was a weapon and a guide left behind by ancient seers who foresaw the arrival of the Devourer. As the moon replaced the wan sun, the familiar terror descended upon Jackson. The city's elite, lost in their macabre dance of devotion, were oblivious to the unfolding battle. The final confrontation occurred within the heart of the city. As the rich recited their chilling hymns, Benjamin, with the artifact in hand, echoed the ancient spells he had learned. The shopkeeper's words of wisdom and the force of the obsidian object wove a shield of light, disrupting the entrancing rhythm of the cult's chants. Chaos erupted as the spell shattered the brainwashing, forcing the devotees to confront the abominable horror they had blindly worshipped. The Devourer, stripped of its veil, was an inky abyssal nightmare, a grotesque mockery of life. The sight of the monstrosity was too much for the awoken townsfolk. Their screams echoed through the streets of Jackson, shattering the eerie silence of the night. The battle ended with the early morning light. Benjamin stood alone, the artifact now silent in his hand. The cult members, their minds liberated from the dark entity, were left traumatized, their illusions of grandeur replaced with the cruel truth of their actions. The Devourer, thwarted and weakened, retreated into the cosmic darkness, leaving the city in an uneasy peace. Exhausted and changed irrevocably, Benjamin walked through the city streets, the chaos of the night slowly receding with the rising sun. His heart was heavy with the ordeal, but lightened by the thought of justice served, and a debt unseen yet deeply felt, repaid. He returned to his humble abode, the silent protector of a town unknowing of the horrors it had narrowly escaped. The past embers smoldered in his eyes, the memory of a fire that once ravaged now fueling his duty towards Jackson. The night had brought redemption within the abyss, a testament to his resilience. He was more than a detective now. He was a guardian, a bulwark against cosmic horrors that threatened his world. And as the sun cast long shadows on the town, Benjamin's saga closed on a quiet, hopeful note, leaving behind tales whispered under hushed breath in the quiet town of Jackson, Mississippi. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like it and subscribe to our channel, where you can find more similar stories, and click on the bell icon to never miss one. There is plenty more cosmic horror to come from the Eldritch Tales Factory. Stay tuned, and until next time.